Museum, why hiding? Why hiding? Why hiding, BP? Museum, why hiding? Why hiding? Why hiding, BP?
BP are officially the world's largest corporate criminal, and for over 2 decades they've been using art sponsorship to mask their crimes and heinous injustices all over the world. This time, by using Indigenous culture to greenwash their image, they've gone one step too far.
We're dressed as robbers because there is a colonial legacy of Britain taking Aboriginal land, of taking possessions. We're here as British people who believe that we want to change that legacy.
I'm not comfortable with the things that are happening, being done in my name. So this is both the British Museum's exploitation of Aboriginal culture, but also BP's terrible exploitation of resources across the world, and specifically in this context in Australia.
Stolen land!
Stolen land!
Brian Lee, the chairman of a community in Kimberley, Western Australia, has said, "For our people, it is an obligation to your ancestors to look after your country, and you have to be on your country to look after it."
Stolen culture!
Gary Murray has said, because of the new legislation, it is supposedly legally impossible for us to use the Commonwealth heritage laws to get the barks back if they are brought back into this country. It is a story intrinsically related to questions of Aboriginal sovereignty, about deculturalisation, about dispossession.
Need to take your banners down.
Need to keep the banners down, guys.
These are flags as opposed to banners. It's an Aboriginal flag.
It's an original flag, isn't it?
Yep, no, it's an Aboriginal flag.
Stolen land!
Gila Michael Anderson, an Aboriginal leader, said about forced closures of communities. They're not telling anybody, but what they're after is uranium. They're after gold. They're after all of the natural resources that sit underneath this land. It's just totally inhumane what's going on in this country. They are cutting off all the essential services. This is tantamount to a campaign that you would wage in a war.
Stolen culture!
Gary Murray has said, "It's a positive thing that a few of my people might get to see the barks again for a very short period, but it taunts us spiritually. We just get to see them for a fleeting moment, and they are taken back again to the British Museum, where they'll be held in the archives downstairs for another decade. It's not right."
Okay, go there. Thank you.
As a British person, I feel a responsibility for what is done in the name of my country.
Stolen climate!
Tom Karma, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Social Justice Commissioner until 2010, has said, as coastal and island communities confront rising sea levels and inland areas become hotter and drier, Indigenous people are at risk of further economic marginalisation, as well as potential dislocation from and exploitation of their traditional lands, waters and natural resources.
Stolen climate.
Stolen climate!
In 2011, the Torres Strait Island Regional Council wrote an open letter to the then Prime Minister Julia Gillard, stating that failure to act on desperately needed adaptation measures in the Torres Strait puts Australia at risk of being the first developed nation with internally displaced climate change refugees.
The Deepwater Horizon spill is something that could so easily happen again, and if it was to happen south of Australia, the fallout would be far worse. The seas are much rougher there, and when we can see how bad a job they've done of the Gulf of Mexico, to be even thinking about setting up in that part of the world, it just shouldn't happen. It's just wrong.
We're driving court.
We're driving court
for an oily crime.